So Rob Bowman, as Steve just alluded to, could be the most hated man in Toronto right now.
Today?
Today.
You 100% are. Hi, Rob. You scum.
Public enemy number one.
Rob, you knew, right?
Yeah.
You knew this was going to be the case.
Well, of course I knew, but I believe in I believe in what I do, and sometimes you got to put things out there. And when you first put something out there, of course I knew what was going to happen. I mean, this is not my first rodeo.
Right.
Young Jesse Blake is sitting here at the side, just shaking his head. I don't think he likes the sound of your voice. Jesse just started his new job managing the social media for Tim and Sid, and today he got to tweet a screenshot of your work. Jesse, when you last checked, how many comments were there on the tweet?
Oh, on Instagram.
Wait, this was on Instagram. People left this many comments.
On
You're
Instagram,
joking.
the screenshot of your article is currently sitting at 1,035 comments.
So
Wow.
cracked 1,000.
Yeah, cracked 1,000.
So I guess I'll start with a question on everyone's mind. What are you smoking?
Well, listen, you sit around with the boys and the girls, and you're watching the game. You're on your bar stool. You're having a couple of pops, and people start throwing ideas out there. And,
Oh, you were drunk. Good.
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 Well, one of the ideas that people throw around is like, what about Austin Matthews? What if they traded Austin Matthews? And so I tried to craft a scenario where that made sense. And, hey, I'll be the first to admit a lot of things have to happen before it makes sense. But all I'm saying is there is a situation where they should consider it.
What is that situation in your mind?
Well, the two big assumptions that lead to a Matthews trade. Number one is he has to ask for a lot of money. If he asks for the same deal as Connor McDavid. Now, if he signs for $10 million or less, it's a different story. But if he wants Connor McDavid money, then they have to think about where the cap space should best be invested. That's the first piece. And the second piece is if this hype around Matthews is great enough, and it seems like it is based on all the feedback, if this hype around Matthews is great enough, then the trade offer that they could get for Matthews might be high enough that it makes more sense to move him instead of, a bunch of other guys.
Now, Rob.
That's how every question should start.
I know it's like this must have been so much fun to write just in advance, knowing that the reaction would just be pandemonium among Leaf fans, because that we don't react well to anything, especially when it comes to Austin Matthews and him not being a Leaf. The argument for this trade mostly would be, and I think the example for this trade would be the Eric Lindros trade, correct? The one from Quebec City to Philadelphia?
I mean, that's the first thing that jumps to a lot of people's minds. But I've used this argument before. Just this past summer, I used the same argument, or at least a similar argument, about why the Canadians should trade Carey Price. No one really even cared about that one. And in the past, I used the same argument for guys like Seabrook. Not a peep. But don't get me wrong, I understand there's a difference between Austin Matthews and pretty much everyone else except Connor McDavid.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, it's the same argument. I'm just applying it to a different player.
Right. And I think
Carey Price is also 30.
Yeah.
Austin Matthews is 20.
And I also want to throw this out there. I want to throw this out there. Okay, so how many times do we really see, because I think we can all agree, all four of us can all agree that Austin Matthews is a franchise player, correct? Rob?
Yes, I think we can. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, where does he rank? Like, if Connor McDavid's the best player in the world, I think most people would begrudgingly agree with that. Where do you have Matthews? Do you have him as like a 1B, or do you have him at 5? Do you have him at 10? Like, where do you have Matthews?
I think he's got enough promise that he could be 2.
But not yet. He's not there yet. I mean, Sidney Crosby and Malkin exist, and like those, he might be top 5. He's definitely top 10.
But like, as those guys age, they will inevitably get worse.
Exactly.
Sure. Matthews has at least 2 or 3 years of getting better.
At this point, you probably want Matthews over Crosby just because of the age, because you get 20 years of Matthews and you get probably 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 years left of Crosby.
Okay. Do you think this is a good idea?
That trading Matthews is a good idea. What I think is a good idea is that they should see what kind of offers are out there. And if there's a Lindros-like offer out there, they should be ready for it.
Because here's
That's
the
what
thing.
I think.
The thing is that this trade, and I'd like
Robert.
to, Rob, I'd like to the one trade that everybody thinks about again is that Lindros trade, and it just so happened that every single player in that trade happened to work out in some form or another
What
for
is the trade?
the Nordiques
Yeah,
and
read the
Avalanche.
trade.
So
That
you've
is
got,
such an underrated trade. A lot of younger people don't know about that deal.
so they traded Lindros's rights to the Flyers for 6 players: Steve Duchesne, Peter Forsberg, Ron Hextall, Kerry Huffman, Mike Ricci, and Chris Simon, plus 2 draft picks and $15 million.
And the best part of that deal is 3 years later, as the Avalanche, they win the Stanley Cup.
They won the Cup. Yeah. And, Peter Forsberg is obviously a force to be reckoned with.
Forsberg and Lindros, I think, were part of the same Hall of Fame class.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So here's the thing. That worked out one time. And that was in the early 90s. And I would be surprised very much if the Philadelphia Flyers really knew what Peter Forsberg's potential would have been. If they really knew what Peter Forsberg was going to be, they wouldn't have traded him.
Okay, well, let me jump in here. If that trade hadn't happened, if the Flyers splashed some cold water on their faces in the last minute and walked away from the trading table, Quebec instead would have made the deal with the New York Rangers. The Rangers also had an offer for Lindros, and guess what? It was arguably even better than the actual trade that happened. It was Alexei Kovalev. It was Doug Weight. It was just amazing list of young players. John Van Beesbrook and Nets. It was a tremendous deal, and arguably just as good as a deal as the Flyers made. So it wasn't a fluke. I mean, Lindros was going for a windfall no matter what.
Okay. But when is it? My question again would be to follow that up, and fair enough. When has it happened since successfully?
When has a franchise player been traded away
And that
the
team
player
gotten
that
better?
Traded away the franchise player was the team that won.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Lindros is the only example of a team trading away a franchise player and that actually working out for them in the long run.
So that's the thing, is that's 25 years ago.
Well,
and so
okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Jesse.
Okay, if Arizona comes to you and says,
it's got to be Arizona.
we're going to give you OEL,
Yeah.
Clayton Keller,
Yeah.
Max Domi, and a first-round draft pick for Austin Matthews, you take that? Do you not?
Jesse,
Well, yeah, I do. Do you guys?
I do. I'm on Rob's side.
No, but this is the thing. People go, what if I offered you everything in the world? Wouldn't you take that? Of course I would.
That's what they did for
What's the
Lindros.
minimum
I'll
offer?
offer you that. No one.
What's the minimum offer? So Oliver Ekman-Larsson and a first-round pick, which is probably going to be top 5, possibly top 1. Now, first of all, that's the bare bones deal. Now, assuming you wouldn't accept that, what would have to be added? How much would you have to add to Ekman-Larsson and that top 5 pick? What would you have to
Is
add
it
to that
just
before
Keller?
it finally?
In what
Keller,
Rick
that's
and
it?
Morty reality is it going to make sense for a player that is too expensive for the Leafs to be traded to Arizona?
Now, to be fair, Jesse was the one that put that scenario on the table, right?
What's weird, though,
I think John Jacob
did you put it in your thing there, Rob? Because everyone was tweeting me Coyote scenarios today. Is that just because he's from Arizona?
Well, I was using that as an example, and yeah, because he's from Arizona. I also mentioned Carolina. They've got a lot of really good young defensemen. Do you think they could put together a package for Austin Matthews?
They got more good young defensemen than they have people in seats. So I think this goes back to the payment issue.
So here's the thing. I get what you guys are coming to, but I think what you can't underestimate here is somebody's worth to an organization beyond just their play on the ice. It's not as though Austin Matthews, it's not as though the Leafs haven't pinned their hopes on his leadership going forward. And if you look at the type of player he is so much better than every other one of the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are already a deep team. It just, to me, if you're going to trade the top line talent, you better get it coming back. And I don't see anybody giving up Clayton Keller and Max Domi and picks and OEL. There's no way. It doesn't happen.
Well, though, the general rule of trading is you always want to be getting rid of the best player in the trade. That is the general rule. Rob, let's cut to here's all I want to know. Do you know the traffic that article got today?
No, I don't know the exact traffic. I pinged my editor just to make sure I still had a job and asked him.
You
what
do?
was the hit count on that piece? Oh, I do. Yeah, I think I'm still good. But I told him beforehand what I was planning on doing for the article, and he said, I don't know, that sounds kind of gutsy. What's your pitch? So I explained my pitch to him, and he's like, all right. And so I wrote it up. I gave him a day or two to look at it before it ran, and we made sure that all the language was carefully couched and the opinions were marked as such, and all the arguments were backed up. So he knew it was coming too, and I'm pretty sure we're hitting new heights. I'm pretty sure this is the biggest hit count we've had this year.
Wow. I'm not surprised.
Do you have a like in and around a number?
6 digits minimum. Minimum.
No, I'm afraid I don't have the exact numbers, but it's as high as, it's definitely as high as you would think. At least, I mean, I know other websites get more traffic than the ESPN hockey, but by our standards, it's quite a hit.
Rob, I'm gonna guess $500,000.
Yeah,
I'd say more than that.
Yeah. Anyway,
Probably.
Rob, I want to congratulate you on the piece that set Leafs Nation on fire. And you know what? I want to thank you because we had such a painful loss last night. And this morning, this article comes out, and now we're not even talking about it.
There was a small part of me that was like, oh, just right into my veins.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I love this. I love
Rob, what are your mentions like right now?
Oh, it's pretty... It started off real bad. Like it started off.
Oh no!
And I've had a bad social media days before, and I knew it was coming. It started off real bad, but then it got so bad that it started to swing the other way. People started coming in and saying, "Okay, now Volman doesn't have to die."
No.
I haven't.
Wait, you got people saying that?
But yeah, it's pretty harsh, some of the stuff that you get, But then, after the Tim and Sid, it swung all the way back again, and it got real nasty.
Way to go, Jesse, you big bully.
Well, Rob, we wish you the best of luck, and it's fun having you on because we obviously know it's not going to happen, but it's an intriguing prospect. It's very funny, and mostly it's not that your work isn't the funny part. The reaction to it has been absolutely hysterical. So for that, I thank you because boy, reading the tweets today has been fun.
Yeah.
Fun for you.
Yeah. What's where can we find your stuff?
Well, I definitely recommend my books, Stat Shot and everything in the Hockey Abstract series. But if you go to hockeyabstract.com, that's my website. You'll see all the player usage charts and the tools that I have. You can download all my spreadsheets. There's links to all my articles, links to all the radio spots. I'll even link to this one once you guys post it. And so if you're ever looking for anything I do, NHL.com, ESPN Insider, just go to my website and I'll link it to where you want to go.
What kind of data charts do you do?
The player usage charts?
Yeah. What are those like? Sorry, I've never seen them.
You've got to check out the player usage charts. They're pretty much my favorite statistical sort of innovation. It puts zone starts, like your zone start percentage, quality of competition, and most importantly, Corsi. It puts it all on the same chart. So it actually puts the stuff in perspective, in context, and it's just a glance.
That's awesome.
You can see how the players are being used. In fact, there's a player usage chart in the article itself on Austin Matthews, and I use that to defend the notion that they need another Morgan Rielly.
Well, this is why I was so blown away today, because I'm like, trading Matthew, what idiot, Rob Volman? What? So, yeah, if people go and check out your stuff, it won't be more of that.
No, it's an informed hockey mind, and that's what makes this interesting.
It was just, I don't know, I just found it so interesting that you were like, I don't know, it is fun. It is very, like, did you, like, get super baked and watch a bunch of Bill Wirtz videos and then decide to write this? Because, like, this is like, it's a scenario that'll never happen, but it's like, man, if only we had flying cars. But you know what a world would look like if we had flying cars? Like,
to me, it's just like, it's the perfect article for Reddit. This is
or a podcast.
Yeah, it's great. So, Rob, thank you so much for your time. We do hope to have you on again when you write your next piece on why the Leafs need to trade William Nylander. And good luck in becoming the next general manager of the Arizona Coyotes, because I think it's going to happen for you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, buddy.